It absolutely pains me to say this, but if I had a nickel for every single time Halo 1 was remade and it was an absolute disappointment, I'd be fucking furious to have two nickels. I want to genuinely start this video off by saying, as heated as I'm about to get in this video, there are some genuinely great things about this remake, but for me, there are a lot more negatives I experienced while playing. I'm not going to go through every single level and what is wrong with each and every single one of them, but when I do have issues with specific ones, I'm going to try to do it in order so that there is at least some level of consistency. There are a lot of great things that can come with doing a remake of an older game, like fixing the issues that the original might have, but here's the issue with Campaign Evolved. It's a remake of a game that a lot of people already view as basically perfect, besides one level being the library. So when you make a remake that isn't one-to-one in feel as well as design-wise, you run the risk of screwing up absolutely everything. Which, I'll be honest, they kinda did. I think the game looks absolutely beautiful for the most part, but the start of my issues is that my single-player game with capabilities for multiplayer doesn't have actual multiplayer. And if you don't have internet connection, then you basically can't play because you're forced to sign in from the very beginning. Hell, I bought the deluxe edition so I could play while I was at Comic-Con during my downtime, and I almost regretted it because of how badly this game pissed me off. I was actually extremely excited for this game, with Halo Studios getting a fresh start with an engine that is as useful as Unreal Engine 5, where they can hire contractors that they don't need to teach an instantly dead engine like Slipspace. Plus, I expected a genuine home run since their first game was going to be a remake, so most of the work was already done for them. They just needed to make some small changes and listen to what the community wanted, but that didn't really happen. The developers instantly made sure a good chunk of the Halo community was already furious by saying they were going to be as faithful as possible, but allowing Sprint to be in the game. And I personally don't really care about that, but I think it would probably be fine, especially with this being a single-player focused game, if it had a toggle in the menu enabling or disabling Sprint. This wasn't all, though, because they decided it would be a good idea to also have a Q&A where all of the features people usually come to expect inside of a Halo game would not be part of Campaign Evolved. Like theater mode. This is all it took to make the community iffy before the game even came out. It's properly out now, so we should probably get into the actual game. And I gotta say, there's something distinctly off with this game, with the cutscenes as well as the general feeling of the gameplay. I played on Heroic for the entire main game as well as the bonus levels, so let me say from the very fucking beginning, for some reason, this game absolutely beat my ass to a pulp. And I say for some reason because most of the time I genuinely had no idea why I was dying. I even had to check if I accidentally clicked on Legendary when I was picking my difficulty. And as someone who has completed most of the games on Legendary, I was absolutely awestruck at how Heroic has been handled on this game specifically. I feel like they didn't look at any of the issues in the past for a game like Halo 2, where increasing the amount of damage as well as the enemy numbers probably isn't the way to make an extremely difficult game fun. What makes the higher difficulties a lot more enjoyable in the other games is that you get to have an experience with each of them. You'll see different ranks of enemies as well as placements and even more aggressive enemies. This game says it does all that, but from my experience, it doesn't. For the most part, you're just going to see a lot more enemies, and they're just going to do more damage. There was never really a moment where I felt like I was actually getting a hang of this game besides specific missions closer to the end. The AI in this game is also a complete hit or miss, with some of the enemies being absolutely brain dead, while some of them know exactly where you are when you haven't seen them at all. I'm talking Halo 2 Jackal Sniper levels of bullshit, by the way. Which is funny, because the Jackal Snipers in this game are almost as bad as they are in Halo 2. Which I can't fucking believe I'm even getting to say that about a Halo 1 remake. But seriously, sometimes you're gonna fight elites that do absolutely nothing and just let you kill them, while others coordinate and rush you with all of their other crew members and will destroy you as hard as physically possible. Now, I talked to my other on-site Halo expert, Thylax, about the bullshit I was going through in this game on Heroic. Let it be known, I have hundreds of hours on each of these games, and I know them like the back of my hand, inside and out on every single difficulty, and I still couldn't put my finger on it. Just why this game was pissing me off so bad. And it's probably because of the Halo Reach AI being crammed into this game like shit in a shower drain. I don't know what they did, maybe I was experiencing some bugs, but Phylax was playing on PC while I was playing on PS5. Halo Reach, especially on Legendary, is known to be one of the easiest games in the entire series, and I suspect some next level fuckery is going on here, because some things I know don't happen in that game are happening here, like the Jackal snipers instantly headshotting you from around corners, where they shouldn't know where you are, as well as the batshit enemy placements in a lot of the levels. Like in the third mission, there is some genuine insanity before you get onto the Covenant ship. I'm talking like 3 or 4 times the amount of enemies that there should be. Now, I'm not saying I didn't sign up for a challenge, because I almost started this game on Legendary, because I wanted my ass beat. But there is a difference between getting your ass beat and getting curb stomped repeatedly. Like the hunters in this same section, which is the first time you see them in the game, have been given a new sucker punch attack when you get close. This attack insta-kills you at basically any health besides full. So whenever you get close to them to try and bait a swing so you can shoot them in the back, you run the risk of getting swatted like a fly into the nearest wall. This, on top of the fact that grunts seem 10 times more likely to pull out grenades to try and cosplay Hiroshima during the 1940s. Which, another thing that made this game feel as shitty as possible while playing in the early launch period, which made me feel like I was going crazy, was that the Jackals with shields were apparently much harder to hit in the hands to force their stun animation. And as I was writing this, they had just released a patch to make it easier to hit their hands. How the fuck does something like that even make it past playtesting? And it genuinely infuriated me the entire time I was playing, especially since it feels like their shields take 10 times the amount of damage that they do in the original. This is one of those things where I've never been so pissed off to be validated by a set of patch notes. One thing I wish could be significantly changed, but probably won't, is how the Warthog feels in this game. I could probably write a book about how vehicles in Halo are probably some of the most perfect vehicles in any game ever. And the way they feel in the beginning of any new Halo player's experience is almost like driving a car in real life for the first time. It feels extremely awkward, but once you actually get a handle on it, then it feels great. And usually you'll be able to drive any vehicle in Halo flawlessly. And a lot of this specifically applies to the Warthog in all of the Halo games. And I know that I said my complaints were going to be more linear, but I need to jump back to level 2 because that's when you first interact with the Warthog. It becomes extremely apparent early on that the physics in this game are absolutely scuffed beyond all belief, because the Warthog in this game, one of, if not the most iconic vehicle in gaming history, has never felt worse. It flies all over the place, and the controls are extremely janky, with a notable thing being that the acceleration goes on for seconds after taking your finger off the trigger, which, by the way, the Warthog should never be using some GTA-ass controls. I grew up using the fucking sticks for it, everybody else should too. And I didn't even look to see if there was a toggle for the classic controls in the menu. But quite frankly, I'm offended at the notion that this is apparently a better option than remaining faithful, as they said they wanted to for this entire fucking time. Using this thing anywhere feels extremely jank, whether it be the Silent Cartographer or the Warthog run. And they all feel like hell with these new controls and physics. This isn't exclusive to just the Warthog though, because every single vehicle has something wrong with it besides the Wraith probably. The Ghost is extremely slow and sluggish, and the guns on it feel like they do absolutely nothing, while the Banshee is basically the same thing but in the air. Meanwhile, this fucking Scorpion is a literal glass cannon. In the one mission it shows up in during this game, I spent maybe 3 or 5 minutes in it being generous, while the rest of it I was in either a Wraith or I was walking on my 2 feet. Because I don't know what happened, but it just dies instantly compared to any other game. Which, it's really funny in the case of the Warthog, because apparently content creators told Halo Studios that the Warthog felt like shit, and they still didn't change it to make it feel like the original, or even make it feel like how it did in Infinite. Most of the Warthog will probably never even be used by the player anyway, since the turret is also useless, because the AI in this game is usually too dumb not to be killed, as well as never killing anything on the turret. There's just so much in this game that feels extremely wrong. The vehicles, be it the sound design or the weapons. It's almost like none of the people in the studio played the original game and understood that how the guns feel actually means something to the experience. For example, The Magnum, a gun that has such presence in the original, has absolutely no impact here. It still barely acts like a sniper machine, but there isn't any sound to back it up. There's no loud bang, there isn't any visual kickback when you fire it from the hip. And the SMG is basically the replacement in this game for the original AR, and it feels fine, but now the AR feels extremely out of place, and even worse, it feels like shit. Even the new additions weren't safe from some level of bullshit, besides one, and the fuel rod cannon barely shows up and honestly doesn't get a whole lot of use in the main missions. And I think the energy sword is probably the largest crime against the community since Halo 5's campaign came out. It feels like a limp noodle at best, and at worst it doesn't act like how it should, not lunging at enemies and sometimes not even killing base level enemies in one swing, while also having an extremely limited ammo pool. And then there's the Spiker, which is extremely just awful. I genuinely don't know what other word to use for it besides it's just awful. Something else that really pisses me off is how the battle rifle feels in this game, which in the missions that it is featured in is so useless that you're better off not picking it up at all. In Halo 2, this was your workhorse. In Halo 3, it was like an older racehorse that was keeping up with the rest of the game. In Halo 4, it wasn't great, but at least it was there and felt like the battle rifle. And that was the same issue with Halo 5, with Infinite having probably my favorite battle rifle in the series, and the game which probably takes everything from Infinite in what feels like an unreal asset flip at this point, can't even get this gun right. A 3-round burst rifle that has been in the franchise for over 20 years has never felt worse. And when I was talking to Phylax about this, he said the gun doesn't feel as floaty. And yeah, that is definitely a problem, but nowhere near the top of my list of complaints. The sound design is off, the damage is also complete and utterly scuffed. For some reason, they genuinely believed that this gun should not be able to one-shot headshot from basically any range and nerfed it into the ground. Every single time I would grab this gun, I would be reminded of just how piss poor of a decision it really was since it's only available in the bonus missions, which is also funny since the SMG is widely available in the main campaign for some reason. In the bonus weapons, the only weapon worth using is the needle rifle, especially since they give you so much fucking ammo for it all throughout. Feels like the DMR in Reach when you're popping off in SWAT minus the impact of the sound design of that weapon. I can't go a singular second talking about this game giving a positive without also giving 10 steps back, which makes me genuinely angry. I don't want to act like I'm an old man yelling at clouds, especially when I wasn't even alive during the original Combat Evolved's release. But when you're remaking one of the most important games to the industry of all time, I expect you to do it with extreme care and precision. Not to mention the entire time they've been advertising this, they've been talking about how faithful it is and how careful they were to preserve the feel of the original, while also making changes to make the experience better. So you tell me how it's faithful to make every single weapon in the game, besides a handful of them, feel like they're worthless, or how making the Warthog control worse than the Rock from SpongeBob is maintaining the feel of the original. And another huge issue I have with this game is just how many performance issues I ran into during my playthrough. Whether it be clear input delay when trying to reload at absolutely crucial moments, while also seeing enemies' animations lag, or blurry from a little bit further away. It's the year of the big 26, and I find it absolutely unacceptable to have genuine pop-in while playing any AAA release, especially on an engine like Unreal 5. I can understand it when it comes to Game Freak, since they're the laziest pieces of shit in the game industry. But this is Halo Studios' first game, and it needed to be a ginormous win for the franchise so that fans like myself can actually feel some hope for once. This game is not the win they needed, and I'm sure Asha Sharma is probably bringing out the strap-on to go over to fucking Halo Studios as we speak. But for as many issues as I have with the game, there is genuinely a list of things that they do get right in this game. So for once, I'm going to stop bitching at this point and get into them. I know earlier that I said I wouldn't go through specific levels since I've already covered the original game on this channel before, but some of these levels need to be covered for their differences because I was shocked at how much better they were. Starting with 343 Guilty Spark. This would be my favorite level in the game if the next one we talk about didn't make me feel a certain way. If you compare this level with how it feels in the Anniversary Edition, it's easily night and day. The actual build-up to the Flood is so much more visceral in this game. You can clearly see the evolution of just how fucked you really are by the time you get to the room with the reveal. all the biomass around each level that has the flood is awesome. It's unlike anything that has been done before since Halo 3 with the Mission Cortana, but this game does it 10 times better than that could ever hope to, which is going to lead me to say, you mean 343 was able to do the flood better than Bungie, and we haven't seen it until just now. They've had the franchise in their hands longer than Bungie even owned the franchise almost, and this is the first time we're seeing them actually use the flood in a meaningful way since Halo Wars 2. In my review of the original, I said I wanted the flood to look as gruesome as possible in the remake. I mean, they're literally a parasite that rips through your flesh and malforms you into a monster that can't even control its own body. They should earn the game an M rating on that factor alone. And this level alone was probably the point where I stopped being angry at the game and started thinking about everything critically. Because up to 343 Guilty Spark, the game feels like it was just made as a nostalgia bait and that the devs didn't really care about Halo as a series. This level by itself proves that idea wrong, because they obviously really love this game, and someone there must love the flood a lot, because they made sure it was done right. Getting the shotgun alone in this level proves my point, because with how the level feels on Heroic, it comes at a perfect time, giving you an actual fighting chance instead of forcing you into a corner like a trapped animal, making you feel helpless for so long just to channel some lore-accurate Master Chief in the last fourth of the level, which leads right into the library. So what if I told you that this was my favorite level in the game? What if I told you that Halo Studios did the impossible and turned a level that was 0 out of 10 and made it the exact opposite? There is an unbelievable amount of atmosphere in this level alone. Instead of making your way up through the library, it actually mirrors how 343 Guilty Spark turns in the second half of that level, where you were making your way up out of hell. Now you're going back down into the dark and finding yourself in the ninth circle itself. And the sheer amount of biomass in this level would make you think the flood has never been contained on the ring at all. The way the game forces you to fight the flood is only somewhat similar to the original, making you purge the infection from the facility so that you can move on, as well as making it so the only way you can progress is taking a path that will inadvertently lead you into more combat, making you go left to hit a button to turn on a light bridge while making you retread your steps and going on the path to the right where the flood have already spawned to put you in danger. It's just so fucking good, and I actually could not fathom it when I first played it. I felt so conflicted that I genuinely debated playing through the entire game again to see if I was just in some delusional stupor when I finally came to the conclusion that the library really is the best level in the game. Even the introduction of the tank forms for the flood is great in this level. It's the one thing in this mission that won't go down in like 2 shotgun shells, and it usually throws multiple at you while also having the flood forms spawn endlessly behind them. This is the only level I truly felt like it lived up to the expectation of being a combat evolved level. I felt so strongly about it while I was playing this level that I actually forgot to use the sprint button the entire time I was playing it. Every other mission, even in Guilty Spark, I used the sprint and didn't even think about it. While in this, I genuinely realized it at the very end where I played the level in the way that it was originally meant to be played. I've just never been so happy to be able to experience the library that was actually better than what Bungie put out 25 years ago. And it's really hard to hate the game as much as I do because the game looks so damn good. This is unrelated to the technical issues that might come up to Unreal 5 being, well, Unreal 5. And a lot of games use this engine nowadays, and they just end up looking like AI slop that most people can't even point out what the thing you're looking at is really from. But Halo Studios did a really good job where the art style of Halo actually mends into the engine, which is solely based off of photorealism as a concept. There's no point where any of the things you're looking at seem out of place or bring out the uncanny valley effect. And all of the animations for everything in this game are absolutely stunning, as well as the lighting for everything. My personal favorite of both is how the energy sword will light up a room whenever you pull it out, as well as its sudden flash of the sword extending over your hand. I think all the animations are absolutely fantastic. Also, another standout point for me is the cutscenes. There are some that are iffy, especially with the newer levels, but for the most part, a lot of the cutscenes in the main game are really damn good, and actually add a lot compared to the original experience. Like seeing Cortana grow to the size of a building in Assault on the Control Room. It really makes it clear with the technology of Halo that she genuinely is in a godlike position inside the ring. and the cutscene of the Flood's introduction in Guilty Spark is also so much better than the original, because they use modern cinematic techniques in horror to make it feel much more impactful than it could in the original. There are a lot more decisions in this game that make it clear that it wasn't made with literally no care at all. They have it so that there are a shit ton of collectibles with skulls and terminals, with some of them even making changes to the game so that it feels closer to the original. But one of those does have an issue where the AR having 60 rounds somehow breaks the AI for Marines, and they won't shoot at anything. What is the reason why we're taking one step forward and two steps back with all this bullshit? How are these things making it past playtesting? But with all of that out of the way, I think that the game is pretty okay, I guess. It's definitely a modern Halo game, to say the very least, and I wish that there was multiplayer in this game, since they also decided to have campaign co-op. But with how shitty the weapons feel in this game, I figure that it wouldn't have lasted long unless it was designed around them. Either way, it better be there for the eventual Halo 2 and 3 remakes, since they made the decision to be a studio that only develops one type of game, and for some reason this is the only thing they've been working on after canceling everything else. I hope Asha Sharma gets Halo Studios in gear, or at least makes sure that Activision is actually going to allow these games to be good, since there are rumors that they're overseeing the franchise now, with Halo Studios having the final say on any decisions. Overall, you should probably wait for a sale on this game, because with it getting mixed reviews on Steam, it probably will get one in the next few months, either for the fall Steam sale or the winter sale. The game is only worth $50 if you're a Halo superfan, which if you are, you most likely paid the $70 like I did to play it early. The game needs a lot of work, and I'm happy that Halo Studios is working to fix it pretty quickly, but this game needed to be nothing less of perfection to fix the current perception of this franchise. A mixed total of reviews doesn't scream living franchise when the last game in the series came out 5 years ago and wasn't perceived as any better. It's even more appalling because this is a remake of a game that is widely known as one of the most influential and great games of all time. So it's funny how it is somehow so much worse than the original in more ways than one, especially when we already got a remaster that made everyone pissed off, and even then that one didn't even have its own multiplayer either. So as much as I'm cautiously optimistic for the future of the franchise, I'm also really pissed that this isn't the win that it should have been. But overall, I really do want to know what you guys think, so leave a comment down below and hit the like and subscribe button if you like this content, since it really helps out the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Glitchy, signing off.